St. Joseph Health System. Oh, you have messed up now. And welcome back to Ben's Rant Nation. I'm your host, Ben. Please smash that like button. Share this video, especially if you know any nurses that work for St. Joseph Health System. Make sure they see it. Share this with them. Comment below. And if you disagree with me, please let me know. I mean, if you think nurses should be paid less, let me know. You're worth talking to. Getting into things. A couple days ago, I spoke with Clifton French of Real News Michiana. We talked about the story that he put out last week about St. Joseph Health System cutting nurses' pay. So I talked to a couple of nurses that I know that actually work there, and they gave me a little bit more information, okay? So it turns out they cut a lot more pay than we initially thought. So it's not just a little bit. When we saw that announcement, they showed the small difference in shift differential pay. Different shifts get paid a little bit more per shift, depending on what time it is. And that's what they showed, but they kind of glossed over, okay, the big part. That's what they cut the retention bonus program. Okay, that is huge. That's not some small little thing. So they cut the retention bonus pay. Okay, many of you don't know this, but last October of 2021, St. Joseph Health System, in order for retention because of the pandemic and all this stuff, in order to keep their good nurses, okay, they offered a retention bonus program, a retention bonus. Okay, and what that amounted to was basically about $10 plus an hour for these nurses to work. And there's more to it, okay? Because they were also told this money was budgeted in for at least the next 2 years. So they were expecting this pay for at least 2 more years after last October. It hasn't been 2 years yet. No, sure hasn't. So they were lied to. They were lied to, and they were told, you know what? It's okay because we bought millions of dollars of all this fancy new equipment, these ventilation systems, these systems that help pump your blood, and all this. They have all this fancy millions of dollars worth of equipment. And it turns out whoever did that budgeting might not have been too smart with this Biden bucks. Okay, because they're not building nothing back better, I promise you. Okay, so they're drastically cutting their pay. Not only that, they're furloughing some nurses, and on top of that, they're expanding the responsibility that's put on these nurses that are getting the cut pay. Okay, so they're laying off all these lab technicians, laying them off. They're shutting down units and then furloughing nurses, and the existing nurses, I'm being told by my sources that many of their workloads are now doubling. So they have increased responsibility, double workloads, and they're losing $10+ an hour of pay. But that's okay, because they're told, talk to Jesus, we're praying for you. Now, me and Clifton French are Real News Michiana. We talked about this last Saturday. So here's what went on with our conversation. It's an endemic now.
It's still around. It's not a big deal.
Around, yeah.
It's still around. It's not a big deal.
Cutting nurses' pay. Weren't nurses a hero? Weren't they the heroes?
Oh, heroes.
Like a year and a half, 2 years ago, they were the heroes.
0 to 0.
The heroes. Now what's happening now?
So, yeah. By the way, they still have to wear masks. So that's
what.
Yeah.
Why they still got to wear masks if it's endemic?
They lost their. I thought they're losing their pay. I mean, that's the thing, man. So the hospital has to pay for all the masks still.
Oh.
And so they just have to cut the nurses' pay. That's so. Anyway,
makes perfect sense.
So I get this tip, and essentially, staffing problems are a major issue across the country, right? They have been since COVID, or even a little bit pre-COVID. They just got much worse when we started paying people to stay home and not work. So
imagine that.
A creative way of getting people to work and not stay home while you're simultaneously terrifying people and telling them they need to stay home, right? Was, hey, you have to stay home, but don't stay home because we're going to pay you more, right? So they introduced all this stuff, these extra incentives. However, what I'm being told is that not only are they cutting those extra COVID incentives, they're cutting other pay as well. So what nurses are telling me from St. Joseph Healthcare System, right? From St. Joseph Health, is that they are going to be making less than they were making pre-COVID. Now the hospital system isn't saying that COVID, and by the way, enjoy your property tax hike. You know, my taxes went up here 81% in my house, my property taxes, 81%. And
Dang,
so,
man, now listen, you can't mention that at a school board meeting or you might get arrested.
oh yeah. Honestly, it's a slap in the face to these nurses. It's bad policy all around that is causing these issues. You know, my heart goes out to these people because whether you think it or not, you know, whatever you think about COVID during this whole thing, these people were stalwart, man. They were strong. They've taken care. I mean, if you've ever been in the hospital or had family in the hospital, and then you've dealt with, I mean, the nurses are the ones who are doing the work.
Absolutely.
You know, they may not have the MD, but they're the ones doing the work. They deserve the pay. Honestly, they deserved more pay to begin with, and these hospital systems should be thinking about them regardless.
You know, as you know, Clifton, both my sister and my sister-in-law are both hardworking nurses.
Are they?
I can tell you from firsthand experience, they bust their ass.
Oh yeah,
they work hard, man. They work some crazy hours, and this is really a slap in the face. And shame on you, St. Joseph County. Shame on you.
I'm told that this is happening across the country right now. It's bullshit. That's it.
Yeah. All right. So now you know the details. Okay. Now, St. Joseph Health System is criminally cutting nurses' pay. So let me get this straight. Imagine, if you will, you go to work one day. Let's just pretend that you don't save lives for a living like these nurses do. Okay? Your boss sits you down and said, well, too bad. We bought a bunch of fancy equipment we couldn't afford. Had it on layaway. So anyways, since we couldn't afford our own equipment, we got to cut your pay. A meager $10 an hour. But it's okay. We're praying for you. Talk to Jesus. Does that sound right? Let's talk about economics 101. Nurses right now still are understaffed everywhere. Okay, it's hard to find nurses. So we're at a time right now where we need nurses still more than ever. So in order to keep them, you're going to pay them less and furlough them. So it turns out Beacon Health is one of the local hospital networks, and they're actually they're trying to recruit these nurses that are being cut in pay and laid off. So Beacon responded with, "We love our nurses. Come work for us." Genius. St. Joe Health, we have a problem, okay, due to either sheer incompetence or hatred towards the whole nursing profession. You're about to lose a lot of nurses. And other healthcare systems are gladly accepting them right now. You better fix this. But I digress. At a time when gas prices are at all-time high, inflation is like at a 50-year high, right? You can't find groceries on the shelves. Okay, you can't do anything now without it costing more. We're going to take that, capture this situation, and drop their pay by $10 an hour. If you have friends and acquaintances that are nurses, share this with them. Let them know that some people support them. Unlike St. Joe Health. That's all I got right now. As always, stay informed, folks.